Here's your heads up to this longer podcast. I made a lot of notes all about changing and about being held back and these funny feelings you have. And it's changed completely. And I'm really pleased with the change. It's going to help you get rid of things that maybe you feel are being held back. Maybe you feel underachieving, or those negative emotions and negative beliefs that go with that. It allows you to let them go. And then being able to get all the skills you want and need to create the life that you really want. So if you could do that, well, have a listen. But for those of you who may be new here, what is Personal Development Unplugged? What is this podcast? Well, it's me, Paul Clough. I'm a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, NLP trainer. I'm here breaking down the complicated, the processes of personal development that people have made really complicated for whatever reason. Some of it for ego, some of it because they're trying to make it look to be more difficult than it is, or maybe take credit for it, but they don't need to. Breaking it down into simple processes, only as simple as they need to be, so you can access every step along the way and achieve success. That's what I'm here to do. Have a listen. I think you'll enjoy it.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi guys, Paul here from Personal Development Unplugged. And I'm not quite sure where this podcast is going to go, because it's something I've been thinking about for some time, and normally I have a structure in mind and a structure ready with where I'm going, what I want to say, and how I want you to feel. But I'm not sure this time. You see, and I think it's something that I've been working on, which means, and because I haven't fully done it, it means I'm slightly not quite there. But here's the thing. Sometimes I guess we feel held back. Do you feel held back sometimes? You may suddenly just get some negative emotions for some reason. You may feel, as you put those two together, that you have underachieved, or you're not achieving what you really feel that you can achieve. And that's the thing I want to find a way that we can look at this, because sometimes we just leave it. And if you leave it, we think it might get better, but it won't. It won't just disappear, because it's still always going to be bubbling under the surface. Everything you tend to do will be affected by this. So I think we need to approach it head on, as it were. You see, how old are you? Not that voice inside how old you are, because I know how old I feel inside, but I mean outside. You don't have to tell anybody, because I want you to time travel, because this is how we're going to look at those feelings of being held back, those negative emotions of underachievement and things like that. I want you to time travel. And notice this is not a visualization exercise and things like that. So don't worry about that. This is something you may need, and it would be good if you did have a paper and a pen or a pencil, which I like fountain pens, but there you go. You see, we've made resolutions, I guess, in January, and probably they've disappeared by now. If you're working on them, great. But maybe this feeling of underachievement, being held back, and those negative emotions may have been kicked off again by those resolutions. But you see, I want you to not just look back. We do review over the last year, and I think that's a brilliant thing to do. So many people teach you, well, not so many people. I've heard a few people teach you, instead of doing a resolution, we do a review of the year. And I think that's a great thing to do. And I've been talking about that year in, year out. But I want you to go back 10 years. 10 years, Cluffy. Bloody right, 10 years. Or thereabouts. It's a long time wherever it is. Depends how old you are. I mean, if you're 25 going back 10 years, yeah, that 15-ish. But maybe you want to come a little bit shorter when you started doing work. But who knows? This is all about choice and your choice. But go as far back as you think. But 10 years is a good round number, isn't it? Round number. You see, I bet if you, like me, look over that time period, you'll see all sorts of stuff. Stuff that you've done that you've forgotten about. Stuff that you didn't do that you maybe haven't forgotten about, certainly below the surface. There'll be all kinds of stuff. And stuff is this technical word that we use in this personal development stuff industry thing. You see, you get negative stuff, positive things that you've done, things that you've left on the back boiler, or back burner is a better way of putting it. There are things that you've achieved, wonderful things you've achieved. And those things that you've achieved are now your new norm, which is awesome. There will be some things that you achieved and then let go. They might have a ripple effect. I don't know. There are some things that you maybe didn't achieve. There are some things you didn't do, some things you haven't let go and still haven't done. So whatever happens though, in all that time, you've created memories. You've created results. We're not saying they're failures. We're not saying necessarily they're superb wins. They're just created memories, and you've created results that we can learn from. But the thing is, if some of those things are still not resolved, they could be causing you pain, emotional pain. Not necessarily pain that you go, oh, I know what it's all about. There's that one thing in my past that hasn't been resolved, and that's got to be dealt with. It could be a number of small things that just bubble below the surface that give you a negative belief, maybe. Some thoughts about that, some restrictions, your unconscious mind saying, well, I don't want to go there. Let's not do that because it's painful, it's hurtful. Maybe get some guilt, maybe be a bit of shame in there and all that stuff. A bit of grief for not doing things. And in the end, they end up stopping you doing things. And the thing is, that is going to be part of this exercise. It's a crappy part, really. But I think we have to do this sometimes, because if you want to have that crappy part still bubbling in your life, then you don't bother to do what we're going to do. But I know you. I know you want to change. I know you want to achieve. I know you want to get your goals. I know you want to develop yourself in, the best way you can, to be the best you, to create things, to leave a legacy. I know that's just below the surface too. And that's where conflicts come in, because you've got this wonderful set of internal emotional goals that you want. And you've got these things that are holding you back for a wonderful reason, positive intentions. And that's where conflicts happen. And that's when there's funny feelings, these negative emotions come up and it doesn't feel right. But if you're going to review, let's do it properly. So that crappy part isn't the thing that really hits you, because that's what most people do. When they don't even know they're reviewing. When I'm talking to people saying, what do you want? They tell me everything they don't want, all the horrible things that happen to their lives as well. I don't want this, I don't want that because of this and this. You go, whoa, I didn't say anything like that. I didn't ask you that question. I asked you, what do you want? And you see, that's what most people do. So if I said to you, what have you done? What's happened in the last 10 years? You'll tell me all the things, probably more negative. You'll tell me the things you haven't done. You'll tell me the things that went wrong. You'll tell me the goals that you had that are left there. And you see, do you know what? What does that do? Well, that just stacks up that negativity for that wonderful positive intention to try to help you. But when you get that overwhelm of negativity, what happens? Nothing. We don't do anything. All we do is we get that feeling of being held back. We get that feeling of underachievement. We get those negative emotions. Get it right, Cluffy. And therefore, we don't achieve. And we certainly don't do what we are. We're all ordinary people, but we all have the ability to do extraordinary things. And this is maybe the thing that's holding you back from doing those wonderful, extraordinary creative things, achieving more than you could wish for, achieving more than you can imagine. So it's like most people would look at the negative stuff, and the negative stuff suddenly becomes easy to do because it's more and more. But here's the thing. This is the way I would like you to look at it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine first, and then I'll go through it with you. That's why I think you need a paper, a pen, or a fountain pen. If you like me, you like writing in ink. I think it's a lovely medium to do it in. Makes me feel like I really am writing. But here's the thing. Let's go through mine. Starting on the negative side, I'll tell you the reason why in a moment. See, I sat down and thought about this, and this is where I started to think I'm working on myself, which I am, but I wanted to share with you. So this is personal, so just keep it between us, yeah? Just you and me. Things that I didn't really like or haven't achieved in those 10 years. Now, I know some things have happened that have caused me real negative emotions, and I haven't let them go. They still affect my life. Not as much as they did then, but they're still like an echo, maybe unresolved. And with that, these old beliefs about still being hurt. I'm also being held back, or I've held myself back by not doing the things I used to do, and I used to have real fun doing, and I don't know why that is. So I can make a list of the things that I really enjoyed doing, but I'm no longer doing. And that gives me, instead of, it gives me remind me of the pleasure I used to get, it gives me like a grieving feeling because of things I'm no longer feeling. There are also things like missing out on keeping old connections with friends. I haven't got that many friends. I've got a lot more friends where I am now, but there are one or two real special friends, and I've lost connection. That doesn't feel good. And there's a lot of things in my head, the things I've learned over this, my adventure into NLP and hypnosis is over 20 years. And I know a lot of stuff. That's not big-headed. I've studied it. I've read it. I've been involved in it. And I know a lot of stuff. But I talk about mastery. And mastering is knowing what to do and doing what you know. And I know I don't always do that. I know sometimes I slip back into my old ways of maybe before knowing this NLP, this hypnosis, this positive intention, this working with my unconscious mind. And I think sometimes it's affected by those emotions or not learning from the things that happen to create those negative emotions and created those negative beliefs. Now, the thing is, when you think of all that, you go, bloody hell, Paul. Well, I'm thinking, Cluffy, shit, this is not good. This is not good. In fact, I'm starting to feel the way I've been talking to you before about being held back, those negative emotions, underachieving. Well, if they're the same feelings, maybe there's a connection. But the thing is, this is where most people stop because they're not going to do anything about them because they've now brought themselves into a negative state. So what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we do is we stop. That's it. I've written those down, so I'm going to work on those eventually, but not just yet, not in this state. So what have I got to do? I've got to break state, change my state. So I can do that by just thinking about what I'm going to do tonight if need be. I can go to the gym. I can go for a run. I can go for a walk. I can do anything that's completely different. Say my telephone number backwards. Can you write your name backwards? Can you not write it? Can you spell it backwards? HGUOLC. LUAP. That's how I do it. And I haven't got it written down. I just do something. Now I'm in a different state. I've broken away from that negative state. So now what do? New piece of paper. And I think, well, hang on a minute. What have I achieved in those last 10 years? Because everything I've just been talking about a little while ago before I broke state pulled like the curtains in front of all this. And now in a new state of mind with a new intention my intention is to find the things that I have succeeded in. So me personally, what have I done? I found a new partner. That's awesome. I've changed lives. I know I have with hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP. I know I've changed lives just by talking to people. What else have I done? I've trained NLP, timeline therapy, abroad to hundreds. Yes, hundreds and hundreds of people. The last time was in a huge auditorium with over 100 people in for 4 days on the run. That's an achievement, Cluffy. I had a boat. In those 10 years, my father and I bought a boat to share. And that it just made bonding in such a way that we just like being together now. I've set up another clinic. I have a clinic, a hypnosis and hypnotherapy clinic in Cambridge, which my son Luke runs now. But I've got another one in another part of the UK. Awesome. I've got grandchildren. Now, I didn't make those grandchildren, but I did effectively at the very beginning. But it's like an achievement of just knowing I've got a wonderful family. I created this podcast from an idea. I'd never done it before in my life. I hadn't got a clue what a podcast was at one time. I didn't know certainly how to get sound, how to record, what platforms to do. And now I've been doing it for some time. Okay, it's not the biggest podcast in the world, but I love doing it. I love sharing with you and seeing your results. I do coaching now online to people overseas as well. I've got some great new friends. I spoke about those. I've got some great new friends here. I've had some wonderful holidays. I've created different websites. I've written a book. I'm going to narrate that very shortly. I do webinars, question and answer webinars to help people change. And I know with hypnosis, along with my 2 sons, I've got 3 sons, but 2 of them in this business, we have developed different protocols, procedures, processes that really they just work. We've evolved them. We've created things of our own. Wow. Now, I hope you can see from that, I feel absolutely brilliant. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to break state. I'm going to keep this state. And I'm going to start looking at those negative things. And if those negative things are really huge, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to resolve them by getting one-to-one help. I've talked about in a previous podcast what to look for in a therapist and the right therapy. Just go back through the back catalogue and search for it. You'll find it. But you know I love hypnosis, NLP, timeline therapy. Find someone like that. Find someone like me. As I said, do things online now. So you could work with me if you want to. But there's not a plug for me. There's hundreds of wonderful people who can create change in you really quickly. And I've got a podcast to come about how quick you can change. But that's if these are overwhelming. But if you just if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, I know I don't need help. I know I can help myself because I've got those skills. So maybe that's slightly different. But here's the thing. I can list those things down. And that's what we're going to do. We look at those negatives again from this wonderful state of achievement. Because I've done a lot more bloody things than I'd forgotten. And that even spurs me to do new things as well. But then I can look at those negative things and go, okay, let's have a look at them. Let's have a look at the ones that no longer even bloody matter. Because sometimes we carry around, like in bloody great suitcases and heavy rucksacks, the weight of stuff that no longer matters. But because we haven't looked at it and haven't just decided, well, look, there is no way I'm going to do, it's an unfinished project. It's something that I thought about doing in the past. I haven't done it. No, I haven't underachieved. I'm going to decide I don't want to do it. End of story. I'm not going to do it. Boom, that's gone. That's not an underachievement. I've just decided that I'm going to put more time and effort into the things that I want to do. And you begin to look at those negatives, those things where you may have felt a little while ago that you've underachieved, but you look at them in the light of this new feeling, as if you're looking down on the page and going, okay, is this important? If it's important, and I'll just go, yeah, that one's important. No, that one is definitely not important. I don't need that anymore. I'm never going to do it again. Or that one, it's a phone call. At the end of the day, it's a silly little phone call to say sorry to somebody, or a letter. I can do that one really quickly. You get those out of the way. And then you look at the ones which are important and you go, okay, let's put them in order. Because the thing is, when you put them all at once and unconsciously, that's where they all are, all together, there's overwhelm. And it's overwhelm that gets those negative feelings to be something that you can't grasp, because there's lots of little ones all coming together and you want to get hold of one. The main one that when you resolve it, most of the others will let go. So you look down the list and go, okay, there's 3 there, which are pretty big. Okay, I might need help on one. I might go and see a therapist about one. I might need to pick out a hypnosis track. Oh, where'd you get those? I'll tell you right now. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple, really. I wanted you to have them all in one place, so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable, so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you, it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals, and therefore I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis. Yeah, that's where you get the hypnosis tracks. Sorry about that. But anyway, you might want to pick a hypnosis track and work on those type of things. But you put them in order and you look at them and go, which is the one when resolved would have the biggest effect on my life? And you know it. Just ask your unconscious mind to pick which one, when resolved, and learn from. When you keep the intention and learn from, the emotion will disappear. And it would have the most wonderful, major effect on your life. That's the one you say is number one. Number A. Then you do the next one, B, C. So now you've got them listed. You're looking down upon them from this meta view saying, okay, I can't do them all. I'm not going to, but if I'm going to do the one that's the most important, the one that will make the biggest change, that's the one I'm going to work on. And you commit. You resolve to commit. I'm going to start working on this now. And you know what? I'm going to look at all those things that I have achieved in the last 10 years. I'm going to get that really good feeling. And that's the feeling I'm going to come with to do the work. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it. How long is it roughly going to take? Oh, it might take a month. Probably won't take a month. Probably take an afternoon. Maybe an hour to resolve. And you go, right, I'm going to commit to do that. And you put it in your diary. You block a space of time in your diary. And you're committed to change. Because you know now, when that disappears, you're going to open up a huge void of opportunity, of possibility that was taken up by that negative emotion. And now you can allow all that good stuff to go, right, what shall we do instead? What will we achieve? I wonder what things I really want to do, because now I can. Because when I look at all the stuff I couldn't imagine of doing those things in that last 10 years that I did just before then. That wasn't Paul. Paul couldn't do that, but Paul bloody did do it. So if Paul can do those things, he can certainly do and change these things. As I said, you may need a little bit of help. You may need a little bit of one-to-one with a therapist, hypnotist, or you might just get a hypnosis track or a process that you know. Read a book that has those processes in. There is information everywhere when you look for it. And the thing is, because you have made a decision to work on number A, your reticulating activating system, that thing, this is the real thing, where your unconscious mind will look for the information you need, because it's always been there. But now, because you've set your intention, you've got the right state, your unconscious mind is going to help you find the results you need, or the resources you need, the resources you need. And that could be on the external, could be on the internal. It could be a friend. You might suddenly notice somebody who says something, you go, could I just have a chat with you about something? I noticed you went through this type of thing and come out the other side and you look really good for it. Can you help me? What did you do? Can you give me some advice? Don't ask for help. Ask for advice. People love giving advice. So that's the thing, I guess. I want you to feel that if you are getting this signal from your unconscious mind of being held back, of having a negative emotion, feeling underachieving or not achieving, it's a signal to you to let's resolve this. Because you know, if you've got a negative feeling, there's a little conflict going on. Your unconscious mind wants something really good for you. Let's get rid of that conflict. Let's learn from it and then start finding the things that you want to do and really do them. You could say when you've resolved that little issue, that number A, you might want to go on number B too, or letter 3. But you can start also scheduling that development of new ideas, getting lucky for no reason. That's what happens when you do this. You suddenly get lucky. Synchronicity comes knocking on your door. You suddenly get a bit of intuition. And as you get that intuition, somebody, a book, a podcast, something comes along and you go, it's like a puzzle and all these pieces have come together. It's awesome. But you have to do this bit of work. And that's the thing I'm going to say to you. If you've just listened to this and say, yeah, that's in my mind, Paul, you make so much perfect sense. I don't think I always do, but I think I make sort of perfect sense on this. And then you don't do anything. That is something I just want you to think of. That is not personal development. It's not knowing and doing. It's just knowing. And that knowledge, all this knowledge I've just shared to you, you might as well just put it in a bag and throw it away. But I know that's not you. I know it. And if you're in any doubt, go back to that list of all the things you've achieved. Get that real good feeling. Anchor it. If you want to know how to do that, that's in those hypnosis tracks. There's anchoring, setting your state. All these different processes and hypnosis tracks, you put them together and then you go and resolve this issue. And you know what? Then you start doing that goal setting. And the goal setting is something that you're going to do with everything you do. Suddenly things just get better. You will then start to be the best you. If you have that frame of mind then to be the best you in everything you do, things are going to go boom. They're going to explode in a wonderful way. It's going to rain with success. And you'll be the king reigning, or queen reigning in that success. Don't know quite where that came from, Cluffy, because it's not the best. But hey, I hope this has inspired you to do something. Block out that time to do this exercise. Listen to it again if need be. Here's what I want you to do. I'll just remind you for the moment. Here's what I want you to do. Sit down. Find a place, a space of time, a place where you'll be undisturbed. Get it just the way you want it, ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then just let your mind go, well, what are the things that I haven't achieved that are still in my mind over the last 5-10 years? Maybe there's an emotion that's been recurring. Is there a belief that is around? And as you think about these things, ask your unconscious mind, are there any opportunities that I wish I had taken? Is there something about connections? Is there something about knowing stuff and not doing what you know deep down you're skillful enough to do, but just haven't done it? You're being held back. And take time to write those down. I mean, you can pause this recording now and just do that. And then when you come back, you're going to break state. How do you break state, Cluffy? You're going to think of something completely off the wall, completely different. If you have to, get up, jump, do some star jumps, do a press up, big deep breathing, anything. Put that Superman cape on if you want. Remember that one? That was ages ago in an FMQ. Walking like Superman. Play that one very quickly. Get in the most wonderful state. That would be an awesome one to do, by the way. Listen to that FMQ. I don't know which one it is, but if I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. Walk around like Superman for a moment. Get that cape swaying and then sit down and write all the things that you have achieved. All the things that have gone on in your life that cause you and have caused you to feel really good. Things you've forgotten about because they seem to be the norm now. They're norm now, but they weren't back then. So you had to create them. What have you created in your life that's now the new norm? What have you achieved? What wonderful goals have you set and got? How have you progressed in your career? How about relationships? What about your friends? Your socializing? Your hobbies? Anything. And write those down. So maybe you want to just stop this recording now and do that. And now, when you come back, keeping that state, just look at those things that you feel you've underachieved or are still there, the negative sides. And then look at the ones which are, well, they're irrelevant anymore. They've just been there knocking at your door, but actually you're never going to do them. You're never going to never want to do them. Cross them out. And in big, bold black or colours or whatever you want to do. So your unconscious mind knows, that's it. I'm never going to do that. I don't want to do that. It's not going to benefit me. Get out of my life. And then look what's left. Is there anything you can resolve in a moment? Maybe you just do that quickly. Resolve them. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's just telling somebody. Maybe it's just giving someone a hug and saying, I'm sorry. And they're going to go, for what? Oh, it's about 2 years ago I did something and I just felt ashamed about it. Go and give them a hug. And they're going to go, get off, daft. I didn't even notice it. You've been worrying about that? Oh, you dippy. And it's resolved. You've learned from it. And then you look at what's left and you go, right, what's the most important? What's the most important one of those to resolve? And when resolved and learnt from, will make the most dynamic, positive change in my life. Allow me to be free. Decide, do you need help or are you going to do it by yourself? Do you need a hypnosis track? What type of help do you need? Schedule it in your diary. Commit and schedule. And do it. There you go. It's simple. It's simple, it's easy. But it's not too easy, not too simple. And it is going to take, and when I say easy, it's easy to do once you've committed to it, because it's not a difficult operation. It's just a matter of giving your 100% attention to it, and it'll work. Because in simplicity, there's genius. And that's what I've broken this down to. 1 minute, it was all these negative feelings, and now we've got a way of dealing with them. And you will deal with them. And here's my little thing at the end, like a little safety net for you. If you were to find that one of those things you need a little bit of help with, what are you going to do? I don't know, Cluffy. I'll tell you. You're going to email me and say, this is that one little bit I can't resolve, Paul. And I will either come back with a personal email. You certainly get a personal email from me anyway. And if possible, we'll do a podcast on it. So we'll do the process for everybody, because you won't be alone. You'll be the one person who's going to do that wonderful, extraordinary thing by asking and get results. So you now know you can then become, like all of us, ordinary people, capable and doing extraordinary things. So that's what you're going to do. How do you do that? Well, the email, as usual, is feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Do that. It doesn't go anywhere else. It doesn't go on my list unless you ask to go on my list. It comes to me personally. You'll get a personal reply. And then we'll move on to make sure that you get clear of that negative stuff and you start actioning and finding new things to do that's going to create a wonderful world for you and other people. Because when you're creating a wonderful world for you, other people are going to get the benefit of it. Because what do we say? You will never know how far the ripples of this wonderful positive change will go, because you'll be a different person. You'll be the most wonderful person you can be. And all areas of your life will change. You may work on one area of your life. One of those negative things may be just in one area of your life. But I guarantee you, don't get many Cluffy guarantees. I guarantee you, when you change in one area of your life, other areas of your life change too, in a positive way. Your unconscious mind just says, whoa, I'll do it over here. And there's a little bit over here. Let's create a wonderful time, a wonderful heart-beating time. So you can leave a wonderful legacy and create. Right, remember looking through your window, creating something different in this world, flapping up a storm of positive change. All the stuff we've talked about, they're all there in the back catalogue. Even if you just want to know, Paul, can you give me an idea of what hypnosis tracks or what to listen to? I can do that for you as well. Okay. Anyway, until next time, enjoy every heartbeat. Before we go, did that make sense? Because it wasn't anything like the notes I'd written, but it seems to have made sense to me now. Even for me, it has made a little bit more unkinking of that confusion line. And now I can see a little bit straighter now to what needs doing, what will be done, and how quickly I can do it. That's going to be awesome. And I know what the result will be because it starts to feel good. And even my unconscious mind is going, yeah, this feels good. This feels right. Enjoy every heartbeat and let me know. Even if you don't have any issues with this and need some help, just let me know your results. Same email address, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Until next time, please do listen to the bit that comes in the end, because it's all about sharing. So don't turn it off, because sharing is the most important thing. Let other people know about this podcast and the things that they can do to make a better life for them. Let's really try to make this family of unpluggers, personal development unpluggers, a community of change. Let's make a difference. But you have to share it. You have to tell people. That'll be awesome. Because that's what you do. When you do that, you share it, you subscribe. Because when you subscribe, maybe things change in the algorithms on the different websites or platforms, and means maybe one or two other people will get to hear about it. And they'll share. And they'll subscribe. And yeah, it does make me feel good when I see the numbers rising just a little bit. But it makes me feel better thinking this is all about people changing, creating a difference in this world in a positive way. So anyway, have all that passion to make changes now. Until next time, this is Paul Clough, Personal Development Unplugged. Bye-bye. Before you go, my friend, I'd like to ask you a question. Did you learn something from this episode? I hope you did, because even though every episode may not be the one that really floats your boat, sets you, alight. Hopefully there's a takeaway in each and every episode for you. And I'd love to know what it was. So please do email me at feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. It's a personal email to me. I'd love to know so we can carry on doing this work that will allow you to exceed your dreams. And what's the payment for this? Payment, Cluffy? What are you talking about payment? I thought it was free. Well, it's like pay it forward. And if you could pay this forward in 2 ways, or maybe 3. The first way is please share it. Share this podcast with as many people as you could. And you can. It's very easy. Just press that share button. Send it off by email to them. You'd love to. This is something you might like. I'll get that right, Paul. Something you might enjoy. And hey, if you could, a real big pay it forward to me is wherever you're getting this podcast, is it iTunes, Castbox, or Stitcher, or whichever you're getting it from, Google Play, I don't know. Would you please just leave a review? Because the review really helps people find this podcast. There's thousands out there, and I want to direct people to this podcast. And the way to do it is by reviews. So if you could do that, if you could share, you could do that. And also just make sure that you're subscribed so you get this episode and every other episode on a Wednesday and a Saturday. If you do all of that, my little heart will sing. And if you want me to sing, well, you'll have to wait and see. Enjoy. But please do all of that. Make my heart sing. Bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.